Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and today is another Throwback Thursday where we're going to take a look. I'm going to repost a piece of video that I took nearly 10 years ago that I think has a bunch of value that, well, no one really saw it early on because 10 years ago the channel was very, very small. So this is an Italian Cei Rigotti rifle. I do mispronounce it at the very beginning of the video, but it's a really interesting Italian, very early, circa 1900, Italian self-loading rifle. Looks very much like a Carcano, but was actually built from the ground up by an Italian officer by the name of Amerigo Cei Rigotti. Like two of the three we know about are chambered in the 7.65 Mauser cartridge, contrary to a lot of the documentation that suggests they were in 6.5 Carcano. It's a really interesting rifle. It's a short stroke gas piston operated gun, and I really need to get to the pattern room or go back to where I filmed this one and do a better video on it. But I think you'll be hard pressed to find anything else out there on the internet that shows a Cei Rigotti disassembled and showing how it functions. So I'm going to repost this video. However, before we get to it, there's some fun backstory to how this one came together. This was filmed at the Warminster REME reference collection in the UK, and it was filmed in 2012, so almost 10 years ago. I was there with my friend Chuck, who currently runs Gun Lab, has been running Gun Lab for many years now, and the Warminster collection is like this snaking hallway of guns on the wall with, some barricades to keep people from walking into them. And the curator at the time was one Peter Laidler, and he was just a few months away from ending his tour of duty as curator of the museum. We got along fairly well, and he was perfectly fine with us pulling a table out into the middle of the hallway and disassembling one of the guns off the wall, namely the Cei Rigotti. However, right as we got started, we heard someone else walk into the museum, and it's one big long room, but it's, like I said, it's kind of serpentine, so you can't see clear to the end of it. But we're just getting started on the video, and we're like, oh shoot, this is going to be kind of awkward if, the base commander walks in and sees us disassembling one of his guns on a table in the middle of the museum, regardless of the fact that we have permission from the curator. So my friend's wife ran down to the other end of the building and distracted him in conversation for about 10 minutes while we finished filming, put the gun back together, and put it back up on the wall. So that's my little fun backstory on the Cei Rigotti video, and now I will turn you over to Forgotten Weapons circa 2012. Enjoy! Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video episode on ForgottenWeapons.com. Today we're taking a look at one of the very, very early semi-auto prototype rifles, the Italian Cei Rigotti. I think I pronounced that right. We have one here that we have stripped into little pieces. A couple very interesting things that we've noted. First of all, you can see this tube on the side of the receiver. This is just a recoil spring housing. So this is the recoil spring, and it lives inside this tube with a central piston that hooks onto this notch on the barrel. So this, there's no gas here. The actual gas system comes off the same block on the barrel, but it operates this lug down below, right there. Now this So this, the barrel's fully locked, closed now. When you fire, this block pushes on this tube, which is connected to the bolt handle, which is connected to the bolt itself. So the block pushes this tube, which unlocks the barrel. Now in some of the British semi-auto bolt action conversions, there was a cammed plate on the outside here to operate the bolt handle up and down. What the Italians did was cut a helical groove into the bolt, or a track into the bolt. So we have a lug here on the side, and that runs in this track.
and that cycles the bolt back and forth. One other interesting thing that we found here, one would assume, like most of these rifles, that this is a modified Carcano. In fact, it's not. The design is based on a Carcano. Some of the component parts are the same, but the receiver is completely new. They didn't modify existing receivers to do this. You can see these two extensions are integral to the receiver. They weren't added on after the fact. The tail of the receiver is all one continuous piece, and the top here is not the same as a Carcano. We also have a few other additions, like a bolt catch latch here for removing the bolt. Now, a couple of the component parts. Obviously, the rear sight is just basic Carcano, and there's no reason they wouldn't ever use that. The magazine this is not detachable. This is fixed in the lower housing of the gun. But it is an independent unit. It has some feed lips at the back here to keep the follower in place. These were in basic 6.5 Italian caliber. I believe the date on this is 1896 development, extremely early for a semi-auto rifle. These were also select fire, so there's a selector switch right back here. Allows you to go from semi-auto to full auto. Obviously not really practical to fire this in full auto with a small magazine, but they did that. It's really awesome that we got to take a look at this. We'd like to express our thanks to the UK Ministry of Defence for letting us take a look at this gun. Thank you guys, we really appreciate it. And tune back into ForgottenWeapons.com for more information on cool prototype semi-autos.